Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Namaste of Ajijic. We are a chartered unity ministry located at E. I was going to say Unity Namaste Village. No, we are located at Namaste Village, which is the spiritual community of James Twyman. And we are here every Sunday. So thank you for being here. Let me tell you to the Google Meet audience and the YouTube audience. We from Namaste Village, we had a wonderful celebration last night.
Yes.
Great. Thank you for being there. We were celebrating 1 year of living in this magic Ajijic. So we have all the people of Namaste Village. James was there, friends. But we had a great time. So thank you to everybody for for coming to celebrate with us. Okay, and now we are going to start the service with a prayer. Everything in unity starts with a prayer. Everything. So I invite you, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes and take a deep breath. We begin this service with a simple act of listening within the heart. As we say, abro mi corazón al amor, abro mi mente a Dios. Mi alma es una con todo el universo. Beloved God, as we are here, each one of us within the heart, there is a place where we can enter the formlessness of love. Into the heart, there is a love that embraces each of us in this very moment. As we open our hearts to the whispering of spirit, we are taken by love to love, finding a way to reach an inner quiet, a place of rest, accessing the peace that belongs to our soul. Thank you, Father, Mother God. Father, Mother, we are rediscovering our heart's relationship with the divine, a place of deepening love and silence and peace. Peace. Be still and know that I am God. Peace. Be still and know that I am peace. Be still and know peace. Be still. Peace. Be peace. 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 Paz. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for your presence in our lives and the lives of those that we love dearly. Thank you, God. Amen. Well, we all have had the pleasure of having two beautiful souls with us the whole month of September, which are Reverend Karen Epps and Bill Englehart.
Oh, well done.
Englehart.
Well done. Yes.
Englehart. So, and today is the last Sunday
Yeah.
for them. We are going to miss you guys. Thank you for your service, your love, your smile, and everything that you have brought with you. Your presence brings an energy. So, and we appreciate that. But as you all know, Unity Namaste is, we have ministers in residence every month. So we also have the blessings of knowing other souls who are in our in path together. But before before inviting Reverends Bill and Karen, I want to know if there's somebody for the first time here. Is there somebody? Welcome. Well, my dear one, we are going to bless you. Okay, you can be seated there or you can stand up if you want and open your heart. Everybody's going to repeat a blessing that we have for you. What is your name?
Are you speaking to me?
Yes,
Nancy.
Nancy.
Yeah.
Yes, I know your name. Nancy, we know who you are. You repeat after me.
We know who you are.
You are a beautiful expression of the divine.
You of the divine.
We love you.
We love you.
We bless you.
We bless you.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate.
We behold the Christ as you.
We behold Christ as you.
And we see you doing even greater things.
And great things.
Amén, amén, amén y punto. Thank you for being here. We hope you feel at home in this community of beautiful people. So now I have our beloved Reverend Karen, who's going to read the daily word with a beautiful voice that you have.
Oh, thank you.
Well, once again, everyone, welcome. Glad that you're here today, and I invite you to become comfortable in whatever way is comfortable for you as we allow ourselves to receive the words of today's daily word for Sunday, September 25th, harmony. Harmony is the song of my life. That is our affirmation for today. Harmony is the song of my life. Harmony is an integral part of music, adding layers of intricacy and depth. Without harmony and rhythm, a musical composition would be little more than a dissonant cacophony. With the resolution of each chord and the synchronization of every note, a symphony can touch my soul with peace. Similarly, my soul finds peace as I seek accord in my relationships and every interaction I have. From a place of love and tranquility, I bring compassion to every situation. With the give and take of compromise, I build understanding and trust. I approach every interaction with faith and the expectation of harmonious results. Harmonizing my mind and heart with the world around me, I welcome and do my part to create goodwill, meaning, and beauty. The scripture comes today from Romans chapter 12, verse 16. Live in harmony with one another. And again, the affirmation. Harmony is the song of my life.
Harmony is the
Song of my life. And so I invite you to breathe into those words as if you are comfortable to close your eyes. And we immerse ourselves in a time of meditation and communion in the beloved. For it is within the presence of divine love that we know ourselves as one with that love and one with one another. For this is the part of harmony in all of creation, that we move with one another, we move in one another, we move as the divine. And as you feel yourself enfolded in this presence that is you and is among us. I invite you in your mind's eye now to see yourself in whatever is that beautiful place of harmony for yourself. Perhaps it is at the beach, or on a mountaintop, in a garden setting, wherever it is that may be. Feel into it. And as you rest there for just a few moments in divine communion, know, as Johanni has opened us with prayer today, be still and know in the silence. And taking another deep breath as you prepare to step away from that place that reminds you of harmony, the beach, the mountaintop, the garden setting, your very own soul. Knowing that you leave in that place, that altar, any disharmony that you may have experienced even as recently as this morning, that it is dissolved into the nothingness from which it came, and that as you cross back over that threshold and bring your awareness into this time, this place, this very moment, that you do it with knowing that all is well. And so it is. Amen. And we were supposed to receive a gift of song from Suzanne before I started the meditation, which I completely forgot about until I was halfway through. So shall we do that now? All right, why not? We don't want to deprive ourselves of any gifts that are intended for us. So. Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, this will continue with that beautiful, soft, meditative, harmonic resonance. This is the prayer of St. Francis.
Yay. And just perfect timing, because I always like to come up after a wonderful song.
There we go.
So I like that. So I want to make sure before we start this talk that everybody got a piece of the puzzle. If you were not handed a piece of the puzzle, raise your hand. And my lovely assistant, life partner, and Reverend Karen, will come around and she will give you a piece of the puzzle because it is an important element of this talk. Right here, right now, today. I got two. That's all right. You got two. Hang on to it, Scott. You never know what that will be. And Scott may make a song out of it. You never know. I got two pieces of puzzle.
Two songs, Arizona.
There you go. Well, here's what I firmly believe, that we can change our consciousness, and when we change our consciousness, we change ourselves. And when we change ourselves, we can change the world. We are powerful. And I expect nothing less than us being able to change our consciousness, to change our thoughts, to change our world. You are powerful. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, because today I'm not just talking about that. I'm going to walk us through something that'll show us how powerful we are and how powerful that those three words are about changing self, changing consciousness, and changing the world. Now, the title of my talk is Puzzled by Life. Let's put the pieces together. And what this means is, I often wonder, what is this? Life? What's going on here? And so I thought about it a lot. This came to me many years ago. And so I'm going to share it with you. And this is how I think life works. And so you'll be able to judge for yourselves today. Now, life and puzzles have a lot of similarities, but they also have differences. each life experience that we have is the equivalent of one puzzle piece. So you have your puzzle piece. Now I want you to show it to your neighbor. Show your neighbor, show the puzzle piece there. And what I want you to do now is put the puzzle together. You're like, wait a minute, Bill, I can't put the puzzle together. Well, why can't I put the puzzle together? Well, because I suspect that Bill still has pieces in the box. That makes it a little challenging. Now, that's how in life, it would be nice if we were given all the life experiences just dumped on the table in front of us. We have to put pieces together, but that's not how it works. We don't get all the pieces at once. And the next challenge you may think is, well, if I was putting a puzzle together, what's the first thing I want to do?
See a picture.
I want to, let's exactly see the picture. I want to see the picture on the box.
The big
You want to see the big picture? We all do, but we don't get to.
No.
I mean, that would be boring, wouldn't it? I mean, oh, well, here's how your life's going to work out. Here's the picture, and, what's our part in it? Are we co-creators, or are we just putting the puzzle together somebody else put together? No, we do not get to see the big picture. And if we did, it would just be boring, because in life, it's just going to turn, we already know the end, and I particularly don't want to know the end. I want to participate in the process. That's what it means to be a co-creator. And I firmly believe that God sees in each and every one of us unlimited potential. And so we're not going to be constricted to a picture on the box, the big picture. Now, as in life, we're handed one piece at a time. And we're putting a puzzle together, we pick up one piece at a time. Well, let's say you're given a piece of the puzzle, and you look at it, and you're like, oh, well, that's kind of dark, that's it. I'm not sure I'm happy with that piece that I got. What does it represent? Is it bright? Is it joyful, just like the experience? Or is it dark and foreboding? What is it? We look at it, we see the color on it. And the truth is that our conditioning and social conditioning probably shows us the color and says, oh, this is a good experience. Or this is a bad experience. But that does not make it true. That's just our social conditioning. To say, this happened to you, that must be bad. Or this happened to you, that must be good. But that's not how it is. Actually, the truth, when we're handed an experience of life, we're not handed the side with the color on it. That's the side of social conditioning that's trying to tell us this is how we should think, feel, act, and respond. But actually, every piece of the puzzle of life, every experience we get is the other side. It's blank.
No.
Makes it a little harder to put together, doesn't it? Well, maybe. But that also tells us that our experiences in life are not preordained. That we get to participate in what our life experience is going to be. Not just what society said they think this experience should be, but what we say, because we're the ones that get to color that experience. Let me give you an example. I shared when we first came out here that my prior career was in human resources, and one of the jobs nobody wants, but sometimes you have to do, is to lay people off. Anybody been laid off? I have, not a pleasant experience. You go in there, and I'm the guy that actually has to tell you. The CEO comes in and says, well, things have changed. We're going to have to eliminate this division. And then they run away. And it's left to the HR person to have the one-on-one meetings. And you can imagine that people are a little upset. They're upset, they're sad, they're angry, and I get it. I'm like that. I totally understand what you're saying. But every once in a while, someone would come into my office and I'd be expecting, here's another difficult meeting. And the person would say, well, Bill, this company, I worked for 20 years. I got my MBA, they paid for my schooling. When my wife got sick, we had medical insurance and she was able to get treatment. I got money in the 401k. I learned so much in these 20 years. And I'm just really grateful that I had, that I was here. And I'm like, because 99 of the other people were like, this is the worst day of their life. And I'm the guy delivering the news. And so they were both handed the same piece.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody got the same piece. A lot of people colored it as, oh, this is horrible. I don't like it. Another person said, well, it's an adventure. We'll see what's going to happen. So it's not preordained that even something like that would be bad. Anybody grew up in the Midwest? I grew up in Chicago. Anybody know what a tornado is? Of course, every once in a while, a tornado would drop down and it could knock down 2 houses in a row. And what you would see is the newscaster would come out to do the interview, right, of the families. And the first people they come up to, they'd say, oh, what happened? What's going on? And oh my God, this is the worst day of my life. Look at this. My house is completely destroyed. Everything I ever worked for is gone. I'll never get it back. Life will never be the same. This is the worst day of my entire life. And then they'll go to the next door neighbor whose house got knocked down as well. And they'll be saying, it's a miracle. We're alive. I mean, the house got blown away, but that was just stuff. We'll rebuild. Things happen. But here, me and my wife and my kids, we made it through. This is the fact that life is going to be even sweeter now, every day. Same experience was handed to both people. But how did they color that experience? You see, we color our experiences by our perceptions and the activity of our thinking. So I want you to consider, do experiences in and of themselves have power? Or maybe it's how we greet the experience. That's where the power lies. Paul said this in Romans, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The power of our thoughts determine our experience of life. I want you to hear that clearly. Determine our experience of life. It doesn't determine our experiences. It doesn't determine everything that's going to happen to us. Things happen in life. Things we like, things we don't like. Experiences happen, but the power to determine our life experiences, what we think of what's going on. Power of our thoughts determine our experiences of life. And I've done this talk before, and people have come up to me and said, well, Bill, what if it was really bad? Anything really, really, really bad? Is that really true in every circumstance? Do I have that power? And I thought about it. And I remember reading a book by Viktor Frankl.
Yes.
Man's Search for Meaning. About him, you can see a lot of heads nodding, about him in the concentration camps. And he said this.
Yep.
We who lived, chokes me
I
out.
know.
We lived in the concentration camps, can remember the men who walked through the huts, comforting others, giving away their last piece of bread. They may have been few in number, but they offer sufficient proof that everything can be taken from a man. But one thing, the last of his freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Are you with that? There's nothing worse than I can ever, think of happening, and for him to be able to put it so eloquently that that's available for each and every one of us. And I'm not Pollyanna-ish. In life, we're going to experience pain. That's just part of life. Things are going to happen. Physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. We're going to experience pain. But suffering is optional. Pain happens. When a woman gives birth, I imagine there's so much pain, I can't even imagine because I'm a man. I just want to say, well, what happens after that? There's the birth, there's life, there's right there. People will experience pain. Like I said, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, financial, things we may have grown up loving, and maybe we lived in one country and now we're living in another. You never know. Things happen. And so we have to recognize that, there's a lot that comes into it and goes in our life. Painful things happen, but suffering is optional. Because we color each experience that comes into our life. Each and every experience we color. Now, how we color each individual experience culminates in the masterpiece that is our life. We are actively participating. We are the artists. And if we look at the masterpiece that is our life right now and we don't like it, guess what? There are things that we can do to change it. Marcus Aurelius said, our life is what our thoughts make of it. Very, very true. Now, I wish I could go back in the past and change the past. Anybody like that?
Yeah,
We can't. I've thought about it. It just doesn't work. You can't go in the past and change the past. But what we can do, we can't change the past, but we can recolor experiences that we previously colored. So we get handed an experience, we think it's the worst thing in the world that ever happened to us. We color it really dark and ominous. But later on in life, we may be able to look back and say, that what I thought was a disaster or a tragedy in the time actually worked out pretty good.
Yes.
Got divorced, thought that was the end of the line, the end of the world. Got rejected. But had it not, and that was horrible. But had it not been for that, I never would have found the love of my life. All right, so we can look back and say, well, hindsight's always 20/20. We can go back with an eraser. Can't change the experience, but maybe it goes from dark black to gray. It's like, yeah, there's a little light in there. And that light led me to something different, something more powerful. Now, speaking of puzzles, when you're putting a puzzle together, you ever pick up a piece and you're trying to find a place for it, you can't?
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to hammer it in there sometimes. I think it'll fit if I do that. You're like, no. So what do? We try to put the puzzle piece to the side. So yeah, I'll come back to that. Well, that's an understandable strategy when it comes to puzzles, but not for life. Because when life hands us an experience, we have to find a place for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we do not, other experiences that are going to connect with this experience, we're going to be in a state of just overwhelmed. We're not going to know what's going on. We're confused. So every time we're handed a piece, no matter how challenging the experience is, we have to find a place for it. And we may struggle. There's a story in the Old Testament about Jacob, where he's wrestling with God and he wrestled with man. And one of the greatest things he says in that is he's wrestling, but he will not give up. I will not let go until I get the blessing.
Yes.
So I'd remind ourselves of that when we're struggling with an experience we've been given. If we want to put it aside, we have to find a place for it because it's part of our life. And some of the strategies we use to try to not face that experience, we may go to drinking or drugs, or we may go to sex or codependency, all kinds of things that we can try to mask. I don't want to look at that piece, so I'm going to fill up my life with all these other things, which we know is not a strategy that works for long.
Yeah.
Eventually, we come back to this piece. So I encourage us all to find a place for whatever the experience is in our life. We color it and find a place for it. And as soon as we do that, it actually starts to transform. Because the end of suffering begins with acceptance. My grandmother, she was in her 90s and she really shouldn't have been driving anymore, but telling her that, oh no. A car would come back with a dent she couldn't explain, and that must have been there before.
Yeah.
And she was suffering because she knew she shouldn't be driving, and she was, and it was very bad. And finally, when she got to the point of saying, I think I have to give up driving, I said, well, guess what? We're going to get you a driver to take you wherever you want to go. And you know who else gets a driver? The Queen of England, who she loved. And then she was like, oh, wow. I didn't know I was going to get a driver. But the end of suffering was acceptance. It's like, okay, it's painful. I can't drive anymore, but now I have to move on. It may still be painful, but we move on. Now, sometimes, and I'm sure this isn't just me, but we're handed an experience and we create a story about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy that got laid off and hated it, how the company really stuck it to him. It was the worst thing that ever happened. And he goes around with that piece and shows everybody he knows, tells the story to every friend he has, so much so that his story better than he does. And if you may think, well, Bill, I don't have a story. I'd say, ask your friends. If your friend can tell you your story better than you, it's like, I think I need to look. Because I have a story. We can fall into the victimhood. Instead of just saying, okay, I got this. This is what happened. I'm going to find a place for it. I may not like it, but then I'm going to move forward instead of moving backward. In fact, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, what lies behind us and what lies before us are small matters in compared to what lies within us. Now, puzzle players here, I'm going to ask you a question. Let's say you get your regular puzzle and you dump all the pieces out. What's the strategy that you use? The first things that you put together when you're trying to put a puzzle together? The edges, yes. The borders.
Yes.
Oh my God, that makes it so much easier. I'll just put the borders in. And that's kind of how we think about life. Well, I'm going to work from the outside in. But in the puzzle of life, you don't work from the outside in. It's all working from the inside out. So remembering everything that we're given, well, this puzzle that is part of me, that is my masterpiece, isn't a lone puzzle. It doesn't have traditional borders. Because my puzzle right now connects to your puzzle and your puzzle. Because we are all connected in human consciousness. So at the end of our life, we look back, we're going to not just see a square puzzle with just one picture on it. We're going to see our contribution to the greater whole. We're going to see our contribution to human consciousness. So when we change our consciousness, we're changing ourselves, we're changing our world, which all comes back to our thoughts and all comes back to how it is that we are coloring each experience. So I ask us to think about this. Each day, we're influencing not only ourselves, but others. What message are we sending into the web, the puzzle that is life? Is it love and hate or hate? Is it acceptance? Is it resistance? What is our contribution to human consciousness? I did this talk many years ago and handed these puzzle pieces out, and a man sent me a picture. I didn't know who he was. He just happened to have a piece. Like a year later, he sent me a picture of him with his puzzle piece, because I'm going to encourage you to hold on to your puzzle piece. Put it in your purse, put it in your wallet, etc. And when you pull it out, someday you're going to, maybe it's a challenging time. You say, what did that bill say? But he sent me a picture of himself placing this puzzle piece in the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. Something he wanted to release, to reframe, to recolor. So I affirm for each and every one of us, like I said at the start, we are powerful. We are connected. We are actually one in human consciousness. And it all begins not with the outer experiences, but what we do, or power of our thoughts, with our inner experiences of life. So I hope that by now we know a little bit more about how life works, that we can put the pieces of the puzzle together with joy. And so it is. Amen.
Awesome.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, it was.
Let's see. I need to hang on a second. Give me a piece of paper here. Oh, thank you so much, Reverend Bill. That was terrific. You know, and actually, I know that he lives this because I live with him. So, oh gosh, that's what, when it comes from the heart, and we know that we feel your authenticity and that this is something that you really live by. And so, thank you for that message. And something else that we live by and we know to be true in our experience is the act of giving and receiving. And if whoever our ushers are, would please prepare to receive the offering. And so I'd like to ask each and every one of you that as you take your offering in your hand today, and for those of you who are joining us online, you can be clicking on the donate button on the Unity Namaste website, unitynamaste.org. Is that correct? Unitynamaste.org is the website. Yes. And for those of us who are here physically, that you're holding your offering and blessing it, and our ushers are going around and receiving your offering. And one of the things that Reverend Bill says is that we are giving to ourselves, so don't be cheap with yourself, okay? because really we are giving to ourselves in support of the work of Unity Namaste and the blessing that it carries, not only for those of us who are here in person, but those who are joining online and joining us later, watching the talk on YouTube or through the website, and knowing that, it is an enrichment in our lives and in our world. And so as our ushers are completing that and coming forward, thank you, Gary, coming forward, we'll join together in blessing this offering. Okay, thank you so much, Jack. Jack has been diligently trying to have the screen project the words, so. Yes, yes. Hi, Gary, welcome. Good to see you. All right, so I will say it first and then invite you to say it after me. So first time, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Joyfully I give and gratefully I receive. So together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Joyfully I give and gratefully I receive. And so it is. Amen, amen, amen. Y punto. Yay. Meaning forever and ever and ever. And now I'd like to invite Johannes to come back up to lead us in the prayer for protection, and we'll be going into the peace song. You're looking at me baffled. Did I forget something else?
Oh, Sarah, yes, Sarah, come on, man.
Oh, Jim and answers.
Hey, Suzanne.
I usually follow the script really. Amazing soloist for today, Suzanne Sims. So
It's all about improv, right? Well, that was such a wonderful talk, Bill. Thank you so much. I love that story of the puzzle, and therefore I am singing today James Taylor's song, The Secret of Life. Oh, yeah, because Einstein said he could never understand it all.
Oh.
Easy for you to say.
Wow, qué bella.
Oh,
Ay, qué linda, gracias. Our very own Susana. Another aplauso, por favor. Otro aplauso. Bellísima, gracias. Perfect. Yes, thank you, Reverend Karen. You know that you are going to be in our hearts forever, and this is your home.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you.
And
Whether you
thank
follow the script or not.
exactly, it was perfect. Thank you, Susana. Thank you, Jack. Why don't we give her sending you our love, my love. So we are ready then to do our prayer for protection. Maybe you can repeat it after me, or you all know the prayer for protection. We usually have it in the screen, which is what Jack wanted to do. So, but I know you all know the prayer, and let's do it together so we can do it. And we say, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen, amen, amen. Y punto. Thank you. Okay, and now to dance. I think those who were in our celebration last night know how much I love to dance. I was dancing and dancing and dancing the whole night. So I was supposed, you see, there's something, I'm not following the script. I was supposed to tell you to stand up for the prayer for protection. That is okay. So let us stand up and let us dance our peace song. Are you ready? Esposo mío. Okay, and let us send this beautiful energy. Yeah. Audience, thank you.